How you doing, everyone? Thank you for listening to the Silence the Loud podcast. We're going to start off by talking about a little bit of racing. Want to congratulate Tyler Reddick. He won at Talladega. I don't know if you saw the race, but Michael McDowell was leading, and then he kind of made a move at the end, put a little block down, and got in a wreck on the last lap, which, unfortunate for Michael McDowell, but Tyler Reddick capitalized on that. It was a really cool moment. He was racing the Jordan car, the 45 car. Michael Jordan was at the race. He did a great interview and was celebrating, excited that he won. Jordan talked about how hard it is to be an owner viewing the race and how when he played basketball, it was a lot simpler because he had the ball literally in his hands and he could control the situation. But being an owner, he actually has to just sit there and watch, and how nerve-wracking it is just cheering on your driver but not holding the ball, watching other guys literally hold that ball racing that car. So Tyler Reddick is a good guy, and just want to once again say great job. Jordan actually talked to his family and had a brief moment where he held his son and handed him to him and said, "Let's see your dad." It was just a very cool moment in NASCAR. And once again, just want to congratulate him. But now we're going to talk about WrestleMania 40. I know it happened a while back, but we're going to just kind of recap that whole thing. A lot of people saying that they believe that WrestleMania 40 was the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And I think it's a little premature to say that. And the reason why I say that is it takes a lot of time to really resonate and understand how great of a WrestleMania it really was. I mean, we're in the year 2024, and people still talk about WrestleMania 3. That was the big one with Hogan and Andre the Giant, Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. It kind of like was known as like one of the greatest matches of all time. A lot of people say it stole the show from Hogan and the Giant, but you go back to WrestleMania 25, 26, HBK and The Undertaker, they had great matches, and we just remember these matches. And I think my theory is that you have to give it a couple of years, not to know if it was good, but to know where it stands the test of time. I think that people kind of jumped the gun saying WrestleMania 40, the best one ever. Now, it was fantastic. It was good. But I'm going to give it like probably a B plus or maybe a A minus. And I'm going to tell you why quickly. I don't think that there was a match. How do I phrase this? I think the best match they had was on night 2 when Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre wrestled for the heavyweight championship. And Seth Rollins, I mean, he was the MVP of WrestleMania 40. I mean, literally came out at the end with Cody just being his shield, and we'll get into that. But I think that Seth Rollins and Drew had the best match. Had the little surprise with Damian Priest at the end. Always a surprise with Money in the Bank and CM Punk getting the best of Drew and Damian capitalizing on it. So I think that was good. The other matches that stand out is Logan Paul, always great, a fantastic wrestler. I was not a Paul fan. I was like, who are these guys for social media? He's walking into wrestling, but apparently he's got a great wrestling background, and he is a tremendous talent. And if you don't recognize that, then I think you're just kind of like judging him from the past. And Logan Paul, I think, is going to have a long future with the WWE. So, and you get into night 1, I don't know. A lot of people said night 1 was like boring and not a good night. I think Rhea Ripley opening the show was strong. Her band that plays her intro, that they were definitely like, it was a cool moment to have Rhea open the show, and she's always great. Unfortunately, now she had to give up the belt, suffering an injury. I think Gunther and Sami Zayn, that was a good match. A lot of hype that Sami Zayn won the Intercontinental belt. I didn't kind of get why. I mean, he's had it before, but it was kind of almost like they're trying to pull off that he had won the belt for the first time. Gunther gave up the belt on day 666, which is an odd number to give it up on, but he has a record for the IC championship, holding it the longest reign. And I believe that Gunther is a huge talent with the WWE. Young wrestler, has a bright, bright future. I think that hopefully he gave up the IC belt because he's going to go on to bigger things. And I hope that they definitely capitalize on him. The Uso match, a lot of people were criticizing that match heavily, the brother versus brother match, which has been done before. I don't think it was a terrible match. I think that they were holding back when you watch that match. When you watch Jay and Jimmy, it kind of seemed like they were being hesitant towards each other, maybe protecting each other a bit. You know, sometimes these brother versus brother matches, you know, they get overhyped, but are they, not that they want to intentionally hurt each other, but what I'm saying is they kind of, you know, play it safe, you know, versus the previous brother matches that we've seen. The big main event of night one, The Rock looked great. I guess he did a 12-week training program to get in shape. And, you know, he looked like he hadn't really missed a beat. Looked like he was in great shape. 50-something minute match. Kind of long. You know, was it the greatest tag match ever? I don't believe so. And the reason why is I don't think that you can just whip guys together and make a great tag team match. I mean, make a great tag team out of that. Guys that have worked together for the first time. I mean, do you think about the Road Warriors, the British Bulldogs? I mean, the Hardy Boys. You know, you think about these guys that are Mike Rotunda, Barry Windham, guys that have worked together before. So it's hard to just put the Rock and Reigns together and then put Cody and Seth Rollins together and say, here it is, the greatest tag match of all time. I don't think it was that. I do think it was a good match. I think it was predictable, though, that Bloodline won, because then you roll into night two with Bloodline rules, and I thought that that was, like, if you didn't know that that was going to happen, then you really don't follow a long history of wrestling. It was very predictable that that was going to happen. So you get into night two, definitely a lot better than night one. Some people saying they need to go to one night of WrestleMania. I don't see them doing that because there's so much revenue made on 2 nights of wrestling, ticket sales, merchandise sales, all that stuff. I mean, right now it's not broke for them, so they're not going to fix it. You even got the Andre the Giant Battle Royal that they throw on Friday night. So I don't think you're going to see that where it goes to one night. They're sticking to 2 nights. It kind of makes sense that night one was a little bit more boring, I guess, than night two, because you know, you can only ride those emotions so high. You know, you have a great match and then a down match and then a fantastic emotional match. You can't keep that up for that long a time period. And I think the complaint about previous WrestleManias before they went to the 2-night schedule, I know I went to WrestleMania 24 and it was not 2 nights, and it gets very long sitting there for hours upon hours upon hours watching wrestling. You get to that main event and you're just completely gassed as an audience. And I think they were realizing, wow, these people have been here. It's a really long day. When I went to 24, it was Edge versus Taker in the main event. And I think it popped well on TV, but we were definitely tired, even though they're both great guys, great wrestlers. You're just tired after you've been there all day long. So pretty smart to make it 2 nights. So let's get into the main event. A lot of people talking about, you know, Cody versus Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns had that long streak, was headed towards Hulk Hogan territory on the days of carrying the belt. And I think they had a great match, but the reason why I wouldn't say, oh, it's going to go down as one of the best matches of all time is because of the ending, the 5 minutes of people saying this is the best 5 minutes of WWE history. I think when you get that outside interference, it takes away from the greatness of the match. And I think when they threw in Bloodline rules, then you're kind of waiting for it. You're waiting for Solo to interfere. You're waiting for, an Uso to run out. You're waiting for that interference. And that kind of takes away from the match, but I get it. They were saying bloodline rules. And, we saw John Cena. We saw Solo. And then the big one that everybody's talking about is that we did not see Stone Cold at the end. I think that it was a good move to not bring out Stone Cold, even though fans were wanting that because of The Rock. And just, obviously, Stone Cold, my opinion, probably the greatest of all time as far as wrestling. But I believe that he would have stole the show from Cody Rhodes. I think that when you bring out Stone Cold and the beer tossing and the way he capitalizes on the audience and he just gets such a pop from the crowd, I think it would have taken away from the Cody Rhodes moment, which was just incredible at the end. The tears, everybody crying, all the locker room coming out, the announcer crying. She did a fantastic job that night. So I think the way they did it, it really worked. Some people said, why is the Undertaker here? But I think it worked because Undertaker's always been kind of like the ruler, like the big baby face, even though they try to play him as a heel. He's really a baby face. And it's hard to do a WrestleMania without Undertaker. We're still getting used to it as a wrestling fan because he had that 2 decades of the streak and just, dominating WrestleMania. So it's still hard adjusting that Taker's not in the WrestleMania. So I think the timing of it was great, that they just gave you a brief moment, choke slam to The Rock, lights go out, off and on, he's gone, he's out of there. And I just think it worked. It didn't steal from Cody, and I think the end is where the writing, the storytelling, it just all came together with Seth Rollins coming out, being the MVP of WrestleMania 40, being the shield for Cody Rhodes. He suffered it. He's had an injury. He needs a heal. His back needs a heal. His leg needs a heal. He could barely stand. And Roman gave him the chair shot, a flashback to what Seth Rollins did to Roman Reigns. And just great, great storytelling. And then Cody winning the belt. I think Cody's going to be a good champ. I don't think he's going to have the run that Roman Reigns had that many days. But I think right now, he's a good champ. He's going to wrestle AJ Styles coming up. And this is a cool storyline. AJ wrestled his father, the great Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. And now he's going to wrestle his son. So there's some good storytelling there. And overall, like I said, I give it WrestleMania 40 a B+, maybe an A-, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm not going to exaggerate A+ and say, oh, it was the greatest ever. But I'm not going to downplay it either because I think the writing, The Rock selling it, the timing of Cody Rhodes and not giving him the belt at WrestleMania 39, and kind of just all gelled together. I mean, if we dig way back to the past, if you remember, they were saying that it was going to be Reigns versus The Rock, and then there was that backlash of the fans. And The Rock made a great point. Sometimes you hear, but are you listening? And he's like, we listen to the fans. We understand the outrage of Cody finishing the story, which is what he did. He finished the story. So it's a satisfying ending to finishing that story. And as of now, he's still champ. And I think he's going to be a good champ. And that's all I got to say about WrestleMania 40. Educate, train, equip. A prepared community is a safe community. Bunker Depot believes in that, and I believe in that as well. If you're looking for eye, ear, body protection, rifles, handguns, shotguns, optics, ammo, a hat, a shirt, just a cool place to check out the Bunker Depot, located at 2004 South Parsons Avenue in Sefton, Florida. The phone number is 813-816-2865. Check out Bunker Depot. Tell my friend Jason Buck hello if you stop in there. Just a great place to check out. Once again, that's Bunker Depot. Check them out. Alrighty, we're back. It is Thursday night, April 25th. We are in the middle of the NFL draft as we speak here. The Bucks that were not on the board yet. I'm also a Bears fan. Caleb Williams, the Bears did it. They picked him. If you listen to a previous show, you know that I probably don't necessarily agree with that, but hopefully the Bears see more than I do. But I don't know. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams being this tremendous quarterback, but hopefully I'm wrong because, like I said, I'm also a Bears fan. But let's talk about the Bucks. What are the Bucks going to do? The luxury that they have is when you have a lot of quarterbacks going, then a lot of positions fall towards you when you're not in need of that quarterback in the first round. And the Bucks don't have, yes, they have multiple needs, but they don't have a pressing need, in my opinion. They don't have something where they're like, that is absolutely the weak point of the team. They don't have that really sticking out. So, could they go defense? They could go defense. Could they go offense? They could go offense. It's really hard to say. So, what I think they should do, our GM has been great over the years. We've won the division 3 years in a row now. So you can't doubt the team that our GM has built. So what I think they should do is, what I believe he always does, is he's going to go best player available. Now, my pick for the first round for the Bucks is Zach Frazier from West Virginia. I think he's a solid center. He's a big guy, well over 6 foot, well over 300 pounds. And Ryan Jensen has been that void. Now, Hainsey's done a pretty good job. He's headed towards that final year of his contract. So, one thing that I think is a glaring, if I said earlier we don't have a glaring need, but one thing I think that we really need to think about is the rushing game, how it really just hasn't been there. So, I'm thinking get the center, get that line built up, work on the running game. That's my pick. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of multiple picks and, waste a lot of time about players that we may not even end up getting. I'm a big believer with the draft that you just kind of let the GMs do their job. They've done a whole lot more homework than we have, so we can argue about it later. The GM did wrong, he did good, and they'll come out with the grades. If they go defense, fine. They could build the trenches, maybe get a linebacker. But overall, that's my pick. Zach Frazier, the center from West Virginia. I'm hoping that the Cowboys don't take him shortly because I know they like to draft O-line early. So I'm a little worried that he may go there. But as of now, he has not been picked. So let me know what you think in the comments if you're a Buck fan. If you think they did well. If you think they did terrible. If you like the first pick. The draft is exciting. It shows you a little bit of the future of the team. And it's always neat to see the personalities and the players that are going to be the future of the team. And that's really all we have. I want to thank y'all for listening. Give us a like, give us a comment, and we'll talk to you later.